Welcome back to this tutorial for beginners in Revit. This is the part 8, and here we will talk about wall profiles, wall openings, edit types, and I will also introduce you to insert rooms in the project. Let's start. In this chapter we are going to talk about editing wall profiles. When we draw a wall on the project, it has a constant height. But let's look at this example where we have this staircase. I'm going to switch to the 3D view and suppose that I want to convert the wall in the shape I'm showing here. To edit a wall profile, it's easy. I double-click when I highlight the wall, it switches to the sketch mode, and now I can easily modify the wall as I like. For example, I can draw a diagonal line here, then use trim extends to corner to erase the parts that I don't need. Then I click on the tick to confirm the changes. So this is how it works. However, I find it a bit hard to edit a wall profile in a 3D view. So I recommend it to do it in a section view or in an elevation. In this example, I'm going to do it in a section. I go to the ground floor, and then I'm going to insert a section, find the icon on the View tab, then I draw the line for the crop view. The area covered has to be the staircase, of course, so I click on these arrows to switch the direction, and extend the area by dragging this grip to the left, so I cover everything. Finally, if I hover the section icon, it says section 2, so I know it's this one. But let's change the name, for example to section stairs. Now I'm going to open the section. First, I'm going to extend the crop region to cover all the wall profiles. Now it's better. Then, to facilitate, I temporarily hide these two walls from the section view. I select both, click on the glasses at the bottom, and select Hide Element. Now, if I double-click on the wall, I can only see the profile of the stairs, and it's also easier to detect the snap points here. Oh, at this moment my visual style is set as hidden lines. If I switch to wireframe, I can see also the stair rises if I need to use snap stair. In this case, as I don't need, the hidden line is fine for me. Let's modify the profile. With the line tool active, I'm going to draw a line along the slope until this point. Next, I'm going to move the diagonal line 0.3 meters up, click in this endpoint, go up now and type 0.3. Then I can easily draw a horizontal line here to connect to the wall, just to the wall face. And right next, a vertical line. And don't worry about the distance, we will set it now. Select the line, then as I want it to be 50 centimeters from the wall face, I have to change first the position of this grip and finally set the distance to 50 centimeters, 0.5 meters. Finally, readjust the position of this line and use trim to corner to erase the extra segments. So the wall profile is ready. Don't forget to always confirm or cancel to exit the sketch mode. And in the 3D view, I can see how the wall looks like. Now, I want to show you a warning that may appear to you. Let's go back to the sketch mode. This time, I'm going to modify the wall again. I know, I'm in the 3D view. But when it's easy, you can edit the wall profile without big concerns. I want to extend the line towards the wall. delete these two lines and then use extend to corner here. Then I click on the tick and I get this message. It says, the best way to control the top and the base is to modify the constraints. What do you think happened? The wall highest point is no longer at the former height. And on the properties, the top constraint, you can see that it's set to up to level first floor, which no longer matches. I change it to unconnected and click on apply. And you can see I won't have that problem anymore because I removed the constraint. Anyway, if I didn't change anything, it would still be fine. The thing is that it's common to edit some elements later in our projects, and if the things are not set in the best way, we may have problems in the future. Wall openings. In Revit, there is a tool available to make a wall opening. What I mean is a passage from two rooms without placing a door. Something like this. Notice also this wall is only one element. This is a very practical feature in Revit. Let's have a look at how it works. I'm going to click on the option Wall at the opening panel, Architecture tab. Then, the first step is selecting a wall to make the opening. Then we click on 2 points, which will define the opening section. Okay, it's done as you can see. However, the dimensions have quite random values, but that's something we will edit just right away. To set the specific length on the opening, just click on the dimension and insert the one that you desire. But you can see it's not enough, as the distances from the wall still have these complex values. How can we place the wall opening at the middle of a room? There is a simple trick for that. In these grips, we can extend or reduce the size of the opening. I click in this one once, and now this length is 0.9. Then I go to the grip at the other side, and I click until I match the first value. Now that they are equal, if I change the length of the opening, the distances at the side readjust to keep this section staying in the middle. I can change again to 1.7 and it still stays in the center. Now let's select the opening section and switch to a 3D view. Here you can see it in this perspective. Grips are shown to change the opening size, but I want you to focus on the properties, as they are a bit different than for the walls. The range between top and base constraints are defined by levels. Even we can set the top constraint as unconnected and set a specific value for the height. If the top constraint is at the first floor, we can modify the top offset of the wall. It's a negative value because it's going down from the top constraint. Now be careful. If I edit this dimension on the project, what actually happens is that the opening height didn't change, it just moved a bit down from the base. That's why now we have a base offset negative. It's not really noticeable because it's just a bit up than 0. I show you an example here which we can better see these kind of situations. Due to that, the best is to modify the offset distances at the properties. If I set 0.5 and click on apply, the base offset stayed at 0 and the unconnected height has a precise value of 2.5 meters. Let's see some properties of walls. I'm going to select this exterior wall and I can see it's a basic wall family with the type R tutorial, exterior wall. This one was not included in the library, I created it. Now I select all the walls that are included in this type. It's easy, just click with the right button, go to select all instances and click either on Visible View or Entire Project. OK, now if I go to Edit Type, there are some characteristics. Let's start with width and structure. As you can notice, I am not able to change the width here. That's the total width of the wall. So instead, I have to click on Edit the Structure and change the thickness of each material. In fact, in this wall type, there are no specific materials associated. As you can see there, all the structure fits on the core, so its thickness is exactly the total thickness of the wall. I can change the width here, but first I'm going back and duplicate the wall and create a new type. And on the title, we can specify, for example, the value of the new width. 0.34 or 340 millimeters if you want. Of course, here, as this art tutorial is a type that I created, I could rename it and edit it if I'm sure I will not need it anymore. It is just not recommendable to change and rename the types that are already installed in the program, or the ones that came on the family libraries, because if you do it, there is no way to recover them back. So I changed the structure to 0.34, click OK, and the selected walls update its size. But yes, be careful when you try to modify walls in an existing floor plan, as you may get some problems. Here you can see the notification. The wall expanded a bit inside, and some joints are no longer in the same position, as well as the sofas that are no longer aligned with the wall. Basically, the best is, before drawing the walls, make sure that you set a width you think you won't need to change it later, and you avoid these dimensioning problems. Now let's look at an example with a more complex type, for example this one. I'm going to draw a wall and change the visual style to consistent colors. This is just to help you, you will see. This time, the total width is 339 millimeters, which is the sum of all those layers. They are all in order, and in this case the finish made of brick is at the top. And now, if you pay attention at this perspective, you can see the thickness of each component makes sense with the value showing here. However, if the wall is upside down, the order on the list keeps the same. Just be aware of that. To edit the materials used of each component, click on one of them and choose the one that suits you. As you can see, there are a lot of materials available by default in Revit. Now we are going to add rooms to the project. Rooms are annotative objects, they are no real elements. Of course, those tags are not going to be painted on the floor. They are just for annotation, and at the end we can create room schedules very quickly. So to start, let's learn how to add rooms. To add a room, we click on the icon at the Architecture tab. Then I just click in an enclosed area surrounded by walls, for example here. Then I press Escape. Now let's rename the room. For that, I need to hover the room name and tag and double-click at that moment. Change to bedroom. And for the tag, when you add the room for the first time, it always shows 1, room number 1. In this case, it's here 24. Why? Because this is an old project that I had already added rooms there, and then I delete them just to make this tutorial. And the program just continues counting from where I was before. Anyway, that's okay. We can change this to 1, and consequently, the next rooms will count as 2, 3, 4, etc. Another way to change the name and numbering is by selecting the room. Although to select a room I have to search a bit with the mouse until this box with the crosses highlights. Now it's the moment to click. The room is selected. Then on the properties, I can change the values on identity data. And I update on the view. Let's continue to add more rooms here. Activate room again. Then I click for placing the room number 2. I can continue placing rooms all together in a row, because it's quicker. Another one here, kitchen, WC, and then the hall. At the end, I rename each of them. Now let's see a different situation. When I add a room in the living room, you can see that because I have openings, all these 3 sections are considered part of the same room. However, sometimes I want these sections separate. And for that there is a tool called Room Separator. Basically, I draw a line to separate areas that I want to consider different rooms. I make a line to divide the dining and the living room, and another one to separate it from the stairs. It's very simple, as you can see. Then I can use the room command again, and this time I am able to add different rooms in the 3 places. Now let's look at the room data. Apart from number and name, I can add more information, for example a comment if necessary. Let's say I put a comment on the kitchen explaining that it has different areas. When you finish writing it, you have to press enter, otherwise the information is not recorded. Then we can add departments. In small projects like a residential house for an average family, usually they are not really needed, because there aren't a lot of stories there. However, for a hospital or a project of a high school, maybe it's important to group specific rooms in specific departments, so we will get things more organized. Let's say I want a kitchen in a specific department, common areas. I insert that name in this blank and press enter. Here, a color was assigned to the room. However, this won't happen if you are doing this for the first time, but I will explain that later. Then I want to add the living room and the dining. I select the living room, hold Ctrl, select the dining, then go to the department section, and if you click on the arrow, it should be already there. I can also add the laundry to the same department. Then for the bedroom, I create a new department called Bedrooms, a WC department, and also another one for the passage areas, the corridors and the stairs. Now let's learn how to add a legend. Go to the Annotate tab, click on Color Fill Legend, and now I can put it, for example, at the side. To edit this, select the legend. You can see the Modify tab is now personalized for Color Fill Legends. I'm going to click on Edit Scheme, and here we can change the colors to the ones that we want. Then, if you look at the section at the left, we can decide if we want to define a section by department or name. In this case, we could set a color for each room. And now the legend is displayed by name. Now look at the example here. I hadn't assigned a color scheme before. That's why I don't have colors yet. When you do it for the first time, it says no color scheme assigned to view. You place it on the project and then you get this window where you have to choose rooms. Then click on OK, and by default it automatically applies to the department. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to CAD in Black. to watch the full list of tutorials for beginners in Revit. There are also AutoCAD tutorials if you are interested. So see you next time!